Keith Urban and Blake Shelton, two of the biggest names in country music, didn't become that well known overnight. Let's just say that during the decades that both fashion and music have been released, the newest trends in celebrity hair and fashion have changed dramatically. The two, who currently co-host the Taylor Sheridan-produced singing competition The Road, reminisced about each other's awful hairstyles, and their comments are making me laugh aloud. Keith Urban, a powerful figure on The Road, is yucking it up with Blake Shelton when he's not mercilessly killing off his opening acts each week. Episodes air on Sundays on the 2025 TV schedule and can be watched with a Paramount Plus membership. All you need to know why it has become the relationship I didn't know I needed is this acknowledgement of their awkward phases. Whoa, memories really do fade with time. Both of these artists looked like that when I knew them. Blake Shelton initially showed us a photo of Keith Urban from decades ago. He was shirtless, wearing a red vest, and had long straight blonde hair with that famous side part that Sydney Sweeney and other celebs have been trying to bring back. I'm glad these two famous people don't mind a little self-deprecating humor. Blake Shelton had a difficult beginning as well. The man is no stranger to the mullet, but that wasn't the issue, as Keith Urban produced a photo of a curly-haired Shelton with immaculately gelled hair framing his smoldering glance toward the camera. Blake Shelton joked, "There must have been a breeze coming from behind him." Urban remarked. The singer of Straight Line then created a country music magazine in the 2000s featuring the two artists, who were equally horrified by their appearance for a number of reasons. Gentlemen, treat yourself with kindness. The hairstyles of the past have influenced anyone who has lived for a few decades. Who knows? Those tendencies seem to reappear, which makes it amusing. If Blake Shelton's belly laughs and Keith Urban's jokes make you smile, you should definitely check out what they're doing next on The Road. On Sundays, CBS premieres new episodes at 9 p.m. ET. The next day, you can watch them on Paramount Plus. Heidi Venable is a content producer for Cinema Blend, a mother of two, and an avid fan of the 1990s. In 2020, she started working as a freelancer at Cinema Blend, and in 2021, she fully joined the organization. Her job includes writing news pieces and TV commentary from her favorite primetime shows, like Grey's Anatomy and The Bachelor. After graduating from Louisiana Tech University with a degree in journalism, she worked in newspapers for almost 20 years in a range of roles, including sports editor, page designer, and online editor. Friends is what I'll say without being asked. Thrives on New Orleans Saints football, The West Wing, and taco trucks. There are two types of country music fans. Those who pretend they have never seen the early 2000s pictures of Blake Shelton and Keith Urban, and those who have accepted their existence and have burst out laughing over them. Fortunately for all of us, Blake and Keith have chosen the second option. They have pushed their onstage connection, friendly rivalry, and meme-worthy past to a new level by bringing up each other's worst time in life, the early aughts hair. At first, it was a simple attack. Ultimately, the event was a public roast, a sentimental time capsule, and the kind of gloriously ridiculous experience that reminds us why we love country music so much in the first place. Yes, each moment was valuable. Style once remarked, "Business in the front, party in the back, and questionable highlights everywhere." In the early 2000s, you have to think back to Blake and Keith's beginnings to understand why this moment was so profound. Before they became famous, before they were A-list husbands, TV personalities, and arena-packing superstars, they were country novices who made some very dangerous follicular decisions. Blake Shelton arrived in 2001 with two things: a smoldering gaze and a mullet that could have landed a record deal of its own. We're not talking about a small-scale business-in-back situation. This was the kind of mullet that seemed to have its own social security number. Proud, curly, thick, and dangerous. With a totally different approach to hairstyles, Keith Urban was becoming more and more well-known on the other side of the genre. His style was one of whispering. What if a boy band member wandered onto a cattle ranch? Nashville meets surfer, with a touch of rock star mayhem for show, as seen by the flat-ironed layers, streaky blonde highlights, and tips that seemed to be bathed in lemon juice. Both looks became well-known, and both men moved on, but the internet never forgets. Nor do their fellow country musicians. Victory Day on the internet. Blake posts a vintage photo. Blake posted an old photo on social media, which was the start of it all. The picture showed a baby-faced Blake sporting an oversized black button-down shirt and the mullet of all mullets. It was a classic image from 2001. "Sir, that's a crime against hair." Users immediately threw in the comments. "You appear to be the bowling alley manager in a small town. This hairstyle must remain under witness protection." The roast appeared to be done, but Keith Urban did what all good friends do. He saw an opportunity and took it. "Why did you do that to your hair? And to us?" was Keith Urban's reply. Keith uploaded Blake's photo and said, "Mate, this haircut is a felony in at least 3 countries," in a comment that would have made Taylor Swift proud. Never to be outdone, Keith shared his own flashback on social media, this time sporting his signature flat-ironed, feathered, and highlighted hair. He commented, "I can't say much. I looked like I had flat-ironed my hair with a car battery." The taunting then evolved from playful quips to a comic war, and the admirers followed. The other artists joined in. Suddenly, the internet was reliving the days of low-rise jeans, trucker caps, Nokia phones, and 2 of the best singers in the business looking like they had just lost a fashion wager. Everyone gains from country legends making fun of each other. The best thing about these 2 is that they enjoy making fun of each other rather than just trolling for attention. Blake has always treated Keith like the older sibling he loves to annoy, while Keith treats Blake like the younger relative whose haircut he can't stop bringing up. Even though they have ridiculed one another's looks, accents, accolades, marriages, music, and aging, the hair roast might be their best work to date. In a world where superstars aim to look flawless, Blake and Keith are out there showing off their receipts, blowing up their younger selves, and laughing at every hair flip, mullet curl, and peroxide damage strand. And honestly, it is energizing. Why this moment is not just about laughing. It's funny, yes, but it also sends a beautiful message about perseverance, confidence, and what it means to be interesting decades after your first breakup. Rather than riding nostalgia, Blake and Keith are in control of it. They are showing their audience that they are evolving, that their style is changing, and that nothing is too embarrassing to joke about by owning up to their past, rather than attempting to hide it. Even though their career paths are entirely different, they are similar enough to create a lasting relationship. Both had hairstyles that could only be described as bold choices to start. They both became well known in the early 2000s. Both eventually became popular culture lovers instead than country fans. Both later became well-known television personalities, The Voice, American Idol. They both married other well-known individuals. Both continue to sell out tours and steal the show at festivals decades later. Lol davao, why did no one stop us? Is a question they asked themselves after living long enough to become legendary. Fans respond by saying, "I'd watch a whole show of them just roasting each other." In just a few hours, comment sections turned into online fires of hilarious gold. Fans posted, "Is there any chance this could become a series? Country Guys Roast Off. Hair Edition, just to cause trouble. Blake's curls were sent down from heaven." Keith Urban appeared to be trying out for *NSVNC, Nashville Division. "Give me 2 hours of these 2 dragging each other. I don't care about award shows." They're right, to be honest. Considering the future, Keith and Blake's mullet tour, if Hollywood has any common sense, they should be planning a brief comedy special right now. Imagine this: the Mullet Tour and Hi G Li JT's a live performance in which Blake dons a mullet hairdo that has been reproduced. Keith is wearing a flat-iron blonde rock star wig. They recount stories. They flash images. They welcome questions. Until the entire audience is worn out from laughter, they taunt each other. To close out the evening, they sing a duet of Somewhere Over the Rainbow with a hair theme. It would sell out in a few minutes. The evolution. Arc of redemption. One hair, 2 men. In actuality, they both appear much better now. Blake traded in his wild hair for a clean, tough, adult appearance. Keith kept the longer look, but he made it more relaxed and appropriate for an award ceremony. They grew up. The hair on them grew out. The song grew up. But the memories are not changed. The humiliation? Eternal. The sticky stuff? Priceless. Even after years of changing their appearance, the flat iron and mullet still follow them around like amiable ghosts in denim jackets. Instead of outrunning those spirits, they are now welcoming them on stage. Friendship above notoriety. The soul behind the jokes beneath the laughs lies a deeper meaning. Blake and Keith have persevered in the business due to their attitude as much as their talent. They don't think too highly of themselves. They don't hide up their inadequacies. They don't act as though they had never faced painful experiences. Every chapter is made available to fans. And despite it all, they share a laugh. This is why the present is crucial. Not due to the likelihood of memes. Not because of the humorous remarks, but because two grown men are still modest enough to mock themselves and each other, despite having children, careers, accolades, and international fame. More of that kind of enthusiasm is needed in every industry. Concluding remark. A hair roast for documentation. In addition to taunting one another, Keith Urban and Blake Shelton gave the internet a useful lesson in humor, friendship, self-assurance, and nostalgia. They acted as a reminder that, despite shifting trends, personality endures. They demonstrated to us that nothing from your history is too shameful to accept. They made hundreds of thousands of people happy in the process. These two just uploaded goofy old photos of themselves and brightened everyone's day in a time when everything seems so serious and polished. Country boys never forget their roots or how terrible their hair used to be, which is what makes them so successful. We fully support the advent of a new era of playful self-roasting in country music. Please pardon us while we turn on 2001 Blake Shelton and bleach some streaks into our hair. For scholarly purposes and sentimental reasons. For the mullet, Keith Urban is probably somewhere flat ironing his hair so he can give Blake another photo.